Hey guys, it's Miss Clausen again, back with Stella. So I figured that we could just go ahead and dive right into it. So if you see me pulling some type of sticky notes out, it's because when we were reading it, we were sticky noting our pages and writing down some things that we found interesting or something like that. So if you guys want to grab a piece of paper and write down like anything that you don't, if I'm reading, if you don't understand something, or if I read something you're like, oh my gosh, I do that too, or I eat that too, or something like that, then you can feel free to just jot it down. And I know that this is going to be kind of hard because the book isn't with you guys. I wish that it were. But hopefully you guys will still be able to understand it when I'm reading it. And some of the pages have pictures like this, so I'll be sure to flip it around and show you the pictures. So let's get started. So chapter 1. So we got some fish, and some starfish. All right. The smell of albondigas fills the house when my brother Nick and I come home. Time for our weekly appointment, says Nick, walking in the direction of the kitchen. I nod. My mouth starts to water as I follow him toward the sound of sizzling food. Around the corner, I see Mom performing her magic over a large pot on the stove. Her eyes are closed as she carefully tastes some tomato sauce with a wooden spoon. She's still wearing her work clothes, except she has an apron on and slippers instead of high heels. Mom works every day in an office, which means she can't make dinner weeknights, except for Fridays, better known as our weekly appointment. It's also the night we play board games past our regular bedtime. Mis bebes, Mom exclaims when she sees us. She spreads her arms wide to give us big hugs and kisses. Can I help, Mom? I ask, wiping lipstick off my cheek. Of course, Stella. Do you want to boil a spaghetti while I change mi ropa? She tugs at her clothes and takes off her apron. I say, sí, but inside I giggle. While Mom speaks both English and Spanish perfectly, Stranger says she has an accent. To me, it's just the way she speaks. Although every once in a while, I can hear that she's saying a word a little funny, like spaghetti. When Mom returns to the kitchen, she's wearing an oversized shirt and jeans instead of her business suit. She leans over the pot of simmering albondigas, wiggles her nose, and takes a deep sniff. Mom says that you can always smell when the food is ready. She looks at me and gives me a thumbs up. Stella, grab the platos, por favor, says Mom. I put the plates on the table while Nick helps Mom carry the food. She scoops some spaghetti and albondigas onto my plate. While she passes it to me, she makes sure to pull off the bay leaf. Mom says the bay leaf gives the albondigas their extra sabor, but we shouldn't eat it. Nick serves himself. Mom still likes to treat me like a baby, even though I'm in 3rd grade. As soon as we start eating together, Mom asks, so, how was your week at school, Ninos? Nick starts talking right away as he twirls his spaghetti on a fork. Pretty good. I think I'm going to join the basketball team this year. Jason and Adam are joining too. Nick is in 8th grade, and the middle school kids get to play sports. Mom smiles. You're going to get so strong. Nick blushes. Yeah. Plus, it's going to make it even easier to beat Stella at arm wrestling. I'll just practice more, I say, and stick out my tongue at him. Mom doesn't get mad. She rarely does. She only gets mad when there's hair pulling or name calling, which doesn't happen too often. She also won't take sides, as much as I want her to sometimes. Instead, she just laughs it off. What about you, Stella? How was your week? Amazing. Today, Miss Bell said we're going to start sustained reading in class. That means we just get to read quietly. I think I'm going to read about fishes because of Pancho, I say. Mom says, that sounds fun. I bet Pancho is going to appreciate it. Pancho is my betta fish. That is a type of fish that likes to be alone. So there's a picture of her betta fish in there. They can be as colorful as the rainbow, but Pancho is mostly blue, which is my favorite color. I like that Pancho likes to be alone and is okay being quiet. Mom winks at me. Anything else? Oh, Miss Bell said that we're also going to have a new student next week. I hope it's a girl so she can play with Ginny and me. It's hard to play tag when it's only 2 people, I say while I slurp up a noodle. Well, I'm certain whoever it is, they'll be nice. Just be sure to make them feel comfortable and be my sweet Stella, she says. I nod my head. Promise. Mom has no idea how excited I am about the new student. School has been a little lonely without my best friend Ginny in my class. I've been trying hard to make more friends, but it's not so easy. The first day of class especially didn't go so well this year. I could barely talk because my stomach was in knots all day. Then when I did talk, I messed up. I had to read aloud a paragraph I wrote about my summer break, and I said some of the words wrong. That made some of the kids in my class, like Jessica Anderson, laugh. I hope that the new kid is a girl who's a lot like me. Maybe she loves to draw or has a fish too, or can run fast like me. I'm sure she might be a little lonely or scared on her first day like I was. I'm sure she'll appreciate my help. I'll show her the tricks around the school, like which lunch lady gives extra french fries or which bathrooms aren't as nice. I looked over at Nick. Did you learn anything cool today? It's one of my favorite things to ask him at dinner. Everything you get to learn in 8th grade just seems really interesting. He thinks for a second. Well, we studied tornadoes and all types of weather and science. The videos were pretty cool. Tornadoes? They're scary. Wait, can they happen in Chicago, Nick? He starts to snicker. Whenever he snickers, I know he's up to no good. Yes, he said, tomatoes can happen in Chicago. I crossed my arms. Nick, you know I said tornadoes, not tomatoes. I heard tomatoes, and you shouldn't be afraid of them. Then he gently elbows me. Now, Brussels sprouts, those are scary. Guess I'm making Brussels sprouts next Friday, says Mom, winking at me. Nick groans. Ew, okay, no more vegetable talk. Nick is pretty stellar most of the time, but he can still be an annoying older brother sometimes. Nick knows it especially bothers me the way he laughs when I mess up my words. I can't help it. Sometimes I mix up the way words or letters sound, and when I do, I turn rojo like a tomato. That's because the letters sound a little different in English and Spanish. I'm taking a class to help me, but I don't like that I have to take it, and I definitely don't like people making fun of me. All right, so that's the end of chapter 1. So, in case you didn't catch on or couldn't tell, there are some Spanish words in this book, which we'll find out later where Stella's family is from and why she speaks Spanish. So some of the words that I say in Spanish might be wrong because I am not fluent in Spanish and I don't know Spanish that well. I haven't taken a Spanish class yet, so I'm still trying to learn. And when I was reading with Travis and Emily, they were trying to teach me some Spanish, which I really appreciated. I'm missing them a lot right now trying to teach me Spanish. But, so I might mispronounce some words or I might say some words wrong. So if I do, I apologize. Again, I'm not fluent in Spanish, so I'm not really sure how to pronounce the words, but hopefully you guys understand what I'm trying to say. So that is the end of chapter 1. So let me get out my binder. So chapter 1 was about making new friends. In chapter 1, Stella is looking forward to meeting the new student, hoping this could be a new friend of hers. She says she's trying hard to make more friends, but it's not so easy. So I'm going to ask you guys some questions, or one question, and that's just, why might it be difficult for Stella to make new friends? What does she say in chapter 1 that might make it hard for her to make new friends? Just think about it for a second. I'll give you guys a little bit to think about it. So you can pause it if you need a little bit more time. But I think it's hard for Stella to make new friends because sometimes, she said that sometimes she mixes up her words, like her English words and her Spanish words. So sometimes she says something in Spanish when she means to say it in English, and then she gets really nervous and her cheeks turn rojo, which means red. So her cheeks turn red and she gets all nervous. So I think that might be kind of hard to make new friends. She just gets nervous, which I think we can all understand. I get nervous meeting new people, and I'm sure that some of you guys do too. There's a little activity that goes along with this, so you guys can feel free to do that. It says, write a piece of advice for Stella about making friends below. So they kind of have a little outlined one right here. Here, I'll take it out so you guys can see it. So I'll read it first. It says, Dear Stella, making friends is not always easy. Here's my advice to you. And then it left some lines, and then it says, your friend, and then you sign your name. So that's kind of what it, at the bottom here, that's kind of what it looks like if you guys want to try something like that. And I have some little notes on here that I wrote too, so just ignore those. But if you need to go back, you can pause it on where I was holding it up and you can write it out, and then just write your advice to her. And again, if you want to, you can send me a picture or something like that so I can see what kind of advice that you guys are giving. So let's move right along to chapter 2. There we go. All right, so chapter 2. So I'm just gonna go ahead and flip it around to show you guys. So we have some cards right here, and it looks like they're dancing. I'm sure we'll figure out what they're doing over here when we read about it. So, chapter 2. We eat until my stomach is as round as an albondega. Then we move to the living room to play cards. Mom puts on salsa music, and we always end up dancing around the room. That's different from chips and salsa. It's a dance where you sometimes do a dip, but you mostly shake your hips and twirl around. It's really fun. During one of Mom's favorite songs, she says, "Ay, mi favorito," and then pulls me out of my chair. I wouldn't even dream of dancing at school, but with Mom, it's so fun. Stella, we used to dance to this song when we lived in Mexico City, she says as she spins me around. How? My family is from Mexico, but we moved to Chicago when I was a baby. I can't picture a baby dancing. I don't even know any babies who dance. They can barely walk. Well, technically, I rocked you in my arms, but I danced enough for the two of us. Mom picks me up for a second like I'm a baby, and it makes me laugh. Then she tries to pick up Nick, but he groans, "Mom." As she brushes his hair back, I notice the smallest smirk on his right cheek. Lately, Nick is acting like he's too old to play with us, but I know he secretly still likes being silly. The smirk always gives it away. After many rounds of cards and salsa dancing, I head up to my room. Before bed, I feed my betta fish. Next week, I'm going to learn everything about you and your relatives, Pancho, I say. Then I crawl into bed and stare at him swimming. I love Pancho, but I'm really glad I'm not a betta fish. I couldn't be in a tank all by myself without my family. I giggle. Nick would look funny as a talking fish. As I close my eyes, I start picturing the new student and my future friend. I hope she speaks Spanish, I say as I drift off to sleep. So that's the end of chapter 2. Like I said, some of these chapters are pretty short, so. So anyways, so chapter 2 was the weekly appointment. It was about how they have a weekly appointment every Friday night and eat dinner and dance. So it says, Stella's family calls special nights when they eat together and play board games their weekly appointment. Stella's mom, Nick and Stella, like to dance to salsa music and play cards. What do you like to do with your family? So just think about like different holidays, different days that you guys, that your family celebrates, maybe birthdays or Christmas or something like that. I'm trying to think of what I do with my family, like on a weekly basis. I love playing Uno. Me and my mom and my brother, we play Uno a lot, and it's so much fun. I lose most of the time. I'm a pretty bad sport, so I get kind of mad when I lose, but I think that that's really fun. I love celebrating birthdays with my family. My grandma makes a birthday cake, a chocolate birthday cake, for everybody's birthday, and that's just kind of a tradition that we all have. So just try to think about some different traditions that you and your family have, or maybe like if you guys have like a family night or something like that that you guys do every week that you might like to do with them. That's something to think about too. All right. So let's move on to chapter 3. Okay. Monday morning, Nick walks me to school before he heads over to Arlington Heights Middle School. He is about to say his usual "bye sis" when Jenny runs over. She has a huge smile and then she twists around. I see why she's so happy. She has a new backpack and it has glitter, sparkles, and a cat. It's very Jenny. Like it, she asks. Yes, I say. Thanks. I wanted to get one that looks like Anna's. Who? I ask. So there's Stella right there. And that's her best friend, Jenny. Anna, she's in my class. She has the best taste, Jenny grins. Nick rolls his eyes. Girls. He does not like sparkles. Then he rubs my head and takes off as Ginny and I walk into our school. I almost forgot, Ginny says. I have leche candy for you. My mom went to the Vietnamese market. She opens her backpack to give me the candy. I lick my lips. Ginny's family is from Vietnam, but unlike me, Ginny was born here in Chicago. Yum, I say, popping a piece in my mouth. Ginny nods and looks into her classroom. Oh, I see Anna. I have to show her my new backpack. See you at lunch, Stella. The backpack that looks like Anna's bounces as Ginny runs into the room. From where I'm standing, I can see Ginny talking to Anna, but only the back of Anna's head. Who is this Anna, I think to myself. I sigh and look at the best friend bracelet Ginny gave me over the summer. It suddenly looks smaller than usual, especially compared to a backpack. But I'm glad Ginny isn't lonely in her class, but she and I are the only ones who are supposed to match. If there was a rule book to being best friends, I'm sure rules on matching would be in the top 10, easily. It's just a part of being best friends. Luckily, I start feeling better as soon as I get to my room and see Miss Bell standing in front of the whiteboard. She's wearing polka dots again. They're my favorite, she told us on the first day of class, which makes me happy. Polka dots are my favorite, too. I sit down in my assigned seat as Miss Bell carefully starts to write our agenda for the day on the board. In perfect cursive handwriting, she squiggles. 1. Library visit. 2. Sustained reading. 3. Lunch. 4. Story time. 5. Science. I copy it down in my spiral notebook, then I add a 6th item to my schedule and draw a smiley face. Make a new friend. Today is going to be a good day. Miss Bell, are you going to read from Help, I'm a Prisoner in the Library again today after lunch? Asked Chris Pollard. He's one of the loudest kids in our class and is best friends with Ben Shaw, the class clown. Seems only appropriate since we're visiting the library this morning, doesn't it? She says as she pushes her glasses up the bridge of her nose. Hearing that makes me feel happy. Even though we can all read really well, Miss Bell reads aloud to us a little bit every day during story time. It's just one chapter, but it's like watching a play. I close my eyes, remembering how Miss Bell does all the great voices for all the characters. Suddenly the bell rings. I open my eyes. The classroom is full except for one empty seat where the new kid, aka my new friend, will sit. I bet she will have the best taste, even better than Anna's. So there's the desk, and it says new friend. So that's the end of chapter 3. So let me get out my book here. So chapter 3 is about, the title on my page here says Rule Book for BFFs. So it says, in chapter 3, we meet Stella's best friend, Ginny. Ginny is in a different class and has made a new friend named Anna. Stella is feeling a little jealous that Ginny and Anna have matching backpacks. Stella says, I'm glad Ginny isn't lonely in her class, but she and I are the only ones who are supposed to match. If there was a rule book to being best friends, and then it continues on. So this, in my book here, it wants you to create a rule book. So what are the rules for being best friends? So it has 5 rules here. So when we did it, we made ourselves a rule book. So I want you guys to just write 1 through 5 and just write some things. I'm sure you guys have some best friends. So if you guys had a rule book, what kind of rules would you guys have? So just write them out. You don't have to do 5 of them if you don't want to, but that's how many are in here. So you can pause it and write them down real quick. I'm going to read what we came up with, my little reading group that I had. So rule number 1, no secrets. Rule number 2, make each other laugh. Rule number 3, no matching with others. Rule number 4, have a secret handshake. And rule number 5, always wear bracelets. They're best friend bracelets. So I don't know about you guys, but I think that those are some pretty good rules to being best friends. So I'm going to read one more chapter. I'll read chapter 4, and then we can do our little questions, and then I'll stop this video. So let's read chapter 4. All right. Miss Morals is standing by the front door of the library to greet us one by one when we arrive for today's library visit. She is wearing her long pearls and a bright orange sweater, and on her left arm she's holding her stuffed goose named Lucy, which everyone gets to hunk when they leave the library. Hola, Stella, Miss Morals says. Buenos dias, Miss Morals, I say quietly, but I squeal inside. Miss Morals has been our librarian since kindergarten. The best thing about Miss Morals, apart from the fact that she speaks Spanish, is she's so smart and loves sharing books with us. at the beginning of this year when I started getting interested in fishes. She showed me all these books on Jacques Cousteau, a famous ocean explorer. Now I love reading about him. So there's a little illustration of Jacques Cousteau. All right. Welcome, Miss Bell's class, she announces as soon as all of us are sitting in front of a computer. Miss Morals is full of spunk and a little different from your usual librarian. I think most librarians don't have purple streaks in their hair. Instead of saying hello back, we wave our hands in the air. Miss Morals says proper library etiquette calls for no loud voices. Miss Morals waves back and continues. I hear you are all finding books for your sustained reading. Now, you remember how to use the catalog, right? Just find the Dewey Decimal number, write it down, and look for the book on the shelf. If you have any questions, I am here. The Dewey Decimal System is how the books are organized at the library. If it were up to me, I would just organize them by color, like my colored pencils, or by height, like my books at home. Still, it really does help when searching for books. With the power of Dewey, I find the perfecto book. I grab it and head over to the big table by myself. The pictures are so beautiful. I want to dog-ear the pages, but I only do that to my books at home. Miss Bell comes up to me, crouches down, and says in a quiet voice, What book are you reading, Stella? What Lives in the Ocean by Tanya Michelson. I say quietly. Sounds positively fascinating, she whispers. So, they drew a little octopus there, and an octopus lives in the ocean, so that's probably why they put it on that page. So, it is. Did you know that an octopus doesn't have any bones and has 3 hearts? I have to draw it later. It's just too cool looking. I heard an octopus named Paul became famous for predicting many winners of the World Cup. Wow, I exclaim. Miss Bell chuckles. She lifts her fingers to her mouth. When I get excited, I speak louder than I realize. I think there will be a little time for drawing after the library, she whispers before standing. I smile and keep reading about octopuses. It turns out that they are extraordinary escape artists. To escape from their enemies, they release a cloud of ink to help them disappear. Then, because they have no bones, they can maneuver through almost any nook or cranny. They can even escape through a hole only an inch wide. That would be a really helpful skill to have. When it's time to go back to class, everyone says goodbye to Miss Morals and Lucy. Adios, Miss Morals and Lucy, I say as I give the stuffed goose a squeeze. I have to admit, even though I'm in 3rd grade and I'm too old for this, it's still sort of fun. Lucy honks, and Miss Morals and I both smile. Hasta luego, Stella. When we get back to the room, everyone starts chatting about their books, except for me. I want to start drawing my octopus. I'm about halfway finished making sure I draw all 8 arms the same size when I hear a knock at the door. I look up, and Miss Green, who works in the office, is at the door. Miss Bell meets her and whispers. I hear Ben Shaw say to Chris Pollard, It must be the new kid. I dropped my colored pencils. I got so carried away with the library and my drawing that I almost forgot. Then I see who is standing next to Miss Green. It's a boy, and he has light brown hair. I frown a little. That's very different from what I imagined. Class, Miss Bell says, this is our new student. Do you want to introduce yourself to the class? The new boy waves at everyone and says, Howdy, I'm Stanley Mason. I just moved here from Dallas, Texas, or Tejas in Espanol. Miss Bell says, Tejas? That's so far away from here. Has anyone been to Texas? A few kids raised their hands. I actually was in Texas last year on our family road trip. We went to see the Alamo and even went to a cave where we took a picture with a dinosaur sculpture named Grindel. So there's the dinosaur Grindel. There it is. Alright. But I'm always too shy to speak up in class. Plus, the Alamo isn't in Dallas. Stanley probably hasn't even seen it. Still, even if I weren't shy, I wouldn't be able to talk right now. I'm a little speechless. I can't believe Stanley speaks Espanol. He doesn't even look like someone who would speak Spanish at all. The new kid I imagined had dark brown hair like me, and not light hair, and she was a girl. Miss Bell says, Now class, let's have everyone quickly introduce yourself to Stanley. One by one, people stand. There are about 10 people in front of me, and I feel nervous and a little sweaty. I want to make a new friend so badly, even if he is a boy. So what if he's not at all the girl that I had pictured in my head? He speaks Spanish like me, and more important, he's new. He could use a friend as much as I could. I could be his first new friend here. When it's my turn, I stand up. I feel myself turning rojo. I freeze. I just read that some octopuses can paralyze their prey. Maybe Stanley is part octopus. Probably not. He looks like a normal boy with freckles, blue eyes, and a cool monkey shirt. I catch myself staring at him for a second. Mi llamo Stella? I say while looking away quickly. Sorry, I'm Stella. I say it even faster as I sit back down. I'm about to groan out of embarrassment when I feel my chair start to tilt backwards. My eyes grow grande like an elephant, and everything slows down. I try to reach out to grab my desk, but it's too late. Crash! Before I know it, my feet are sticking straight up in the air, and my back is on the ground. I've fallen down in front of Stanley, in front of everyone. I close my eyes as I hear my entire class laugh. There she is. Poor Stella. I check my arms and legs. Nothing hurts. I think about staying on the ground, but I decide to crawl up. I poke my eyes above my desk. Are you okay, Stella? Miss Bella is the only one not laughing. Yes, I whisper. I look at Stanley. He looks like he wants to laugh, but he's holding it in. There goes my new friend, I think. Who would want a klutz for a friend? I pull my chair back up and sit down. On top of it, I can't believe I spoke Spanish instead of English. Doubly embarrassing. I stare at my drawing and think about escaping through a tiny hole or disappearing in a cloud of ink. Today, I really wish I were an octopus. So that's it for chapter 4. So that's all I'm going to read for right now. But before I end the video, I'll read our little activity. So chapter 4, the new student. In chapter 4, Stella meets the new student who happens to be a boy. She is so nervous about making a new friend that when introducing herself, she falls out of her chair. Do you think Stella still has a chance to be friends with Stanley, even though she embarrassed herself? What should Stella do next? So, do you guys think that Stella still has a chance to be friends with Stanley, even though she fell and embarrassed herself? What should she do next? So, I'll let you guys take a little bit. You can pause it and think to yourself about it. Write it down if you want to. So, I think that Stella still has a chance to be friends with Stanley. I mean, people fall down all the time. I've fallen down in front of people before who are my friends. I've done some embarrassing things. When I'm reading, I stutter a little bit, and that's kind of embarrassing, but I still continue going. So even though she fell, she's got to get back up and try again. So, and you guys know that I ride horses, and that's kind of a thing that we say in the horse world. If you fall off, you just got to get back on and keep going. So I think that she still has a chance to be friends with Stanley. So what should Stella do next? I think that maybe at lunch or at recess, she should go up to Stanley and talk to him and just be like, hey, do you want to play on the playground with me? Or do you want to eat lunch with me? Or something like that. And maybe they'll get into a conversation and become friends. So you guys think about what you guys would do if you were Stella and what she should do. And write it down, and feel free to send me a picture of all of the stuff that you guys did today in my email. It's on my homepage. So that's all I'm going to read for you guys today. I hope that you guys enjoyed chapter 1 through 4, and I will see you guys next time for our next few chapters that I'm going to read. Bye, guys.